Okay, so earlier this week, I binged through Fate Type Redline, which is an ongoing Fate manga that I could best describe as the Holy Grail War meets Back to the Future. So, the Grail War aspect is it takes place in World War II, and you have this alliance between the Japanese army and their mages and the Third Reich, who are teaming up together to try to get the Holy Grail, which they can use to win the war. And also, there's this one dude, I'm going to be honest, I don't really remember the master names, but this major in the Japanese military who wants to use servants to fight the war. Like, specifically, it's like, I want to use Archer, who's Oda Nobunaga, because I remember most of the servants. I want to use Archer, so, like, when, like, I want there to be fighting on the mainland, so the allies will come here and get slaughtered by the servants. And honestly, that goes kind of hard as a plan. Like, you get this one scene of Archer fighting these planes and destroying them with her rifles, and it felt like a scene straight out of Tanya the Evil, and I really enjoyed Tanya the Evil. It's like, that's neat as fuck. I really liked that. So the servants that we get are Saber. They're mostly servants from the gag manga, which I haven't read. It's Koha Ace, and if you played Fate Go, you would know them from the Guda Guda events. Saber is Okita Soji. Archer is Oda Nobunaga. Lancer is Li Shuen. The Berserker is Mori Nagayoshi. I think it's Ryoma is writer. I think it's Izo. I wrote his name down because he's the one I don't remember as much. Izo is assassin, and Castor is Maxwell's demon. The way that this is Back to the Future is our main character is a Magus from like more or less modern day who is reading a light novel about this Grail War that took place. It's just like so silly, but I love it. Who is reading this light novel about this Grail War that took place in World War II. So he's cleaning up his grandma's like stuff, accidentally uses magic on an hourglass, which sends him back in time to meet his grandma and take place in this Grail War. His grandma is trying to summon Saber. Specifically, she thinks she has the artifact to summon Artoria, the King of Knights, and instead, the catalyst that ends up being used to summon Saber is the main character's book. So it summons the Saber from the book, who is Okita. So he is actually Saber's master, even though in the book his grandma is Saber's master, which gets him thrust into the Grail War, and his grandma's very pissed at him for stealing his servant, or excuse me, from stealing her servant. But they start working together. There is this one point where Assassin nearly kills his grandma, and it's probably one of my favorite scenes in the manga so far. Is like he's fucking with her, and at one point he just cuts off her fingers. And I've mentioned before in other videos how much like that fucks with me. So I'm like, oh. And so she starts screaming because her fingers have been sliced off, and he's like, hey, come on. They're just fingers. You're not gonna miss them that bad. And there's a scene later where he's fighting Saber and she cuts off his fingers and he starts freaking out. He's like, come on, dude. They're just fingers. They're not that bad. I was like, damn, she just fucking cooked him. Hell yeah. But because his grandma has now taken like severe damage and she's about to be killed, and the text of the light novel is now changed to be like, yeah, this is what happened. She died there. She was killed by assassin. He starts getting Marty McFly. Like, his body starts turning transparent. He starts getting really weak. It's like, no, if my grandma dies, that means my dad isn't born. If my dad isn't born, then I'm not born. So I have to go save my grandma. I'm like, holy shit, this is just Back to the Future. That's kind of gnarly, and I'm glad they're really taking advantage of this idea. I like that a lot. I also do like the idea of, yeah, his book changes depending on what's going on, and it will let him know, this is the shit that's about to go down if you don't act, so maybe you should do something about it. Like, this is This is like some Future Diary shit. It's a Future Diary Back to the Future Grail War. This is so cool! Like, I fucking love this! In addition to that, I think the art is great. There's so many panels and pages where I'm like, I gotta screen cap that. That looks so good. Oda Nobunaga is genuinely one of my favorite designs in all of Fate. I love the hat, the cape, the uniform, the boots, the fucking guns. I love, like, her fucking eyes. Just the outfit, the colors, it all looks so cool. And I know Good Smile is coming out with, like, a figure soon. And it's specifically the pose of Avenger Nobunaga. And I'm like, I might have to get that. It's so good looking. So, as much as I love goofy-ass Nobu, the fact that she's being taken very seriously and is a fucking problem. It's like, oh yeah, this is the fourth Holy Grail War. Archer was in the third Holy Grail War and she fucking won. Because summoning Oda Nobunaga in Japan basically means you fucking win by default. Like, that's actually kind of super badass. And yeah, it's like I said, like, I love her design, and she gets so many, like, good expressions and good shots. Like, the detail is amazing. There's a scene of this one dude trying to interrupt her fight with Saber, and without even looking, the guns just turn on him and shoot his fucking head off. In the previous Grail War, actually, no, I don't think it was the previous Grail War. I think when they're trying to summon her here, her master's like, Oda Nobunaga is a woman. That's ass. You know, like, you're a woman and you're my servant. You're going to do what I tell you. She just fucking cuts his head off. And, like, yeah, so rule number 1. I am in charge and you do what I fucking say and you show me respect. And then everyone just fucking bows to her like a god because, what is it, like the Demon King of the Sixth Heaven or whatever Oda's title was? Like, oh, this is so neat, man. And as you might have surmised from what I've talked about, just a decapitation here, shoot a dude in the head here, the finger scenes. This is a very violent manga, which it should be because it's Fate. Fate is fucking gory, especially if you read the VN and you get the bad endings. It is gnarly, and I'm really glad that we're getting that. Like, after Grandma's fingers get cut off, they end up sewing them back together. I'm like, dude, we're getting finger slicing and finger splicing in the same story. Hell yeah. Oh, but it's cool. Fucking Berserker. So Berserker, who his master thought was Musashi Miyamoto, which is not the case. When he gets released, he just starts killing everybody around him, and his master's like, okay, this is a problem. Berserker, I order you to kill yourself. So Berserker cuts off the dude's hand with the command seals, so he can't finish the command. His master starts freaking the fuck out because he just got his hand cut off. He's like, Master, I'm not gonna hurt you. Come on. Why are you freaking out? He just picks him up. It's like, these assholes are trying to hurt my master. Master, can you believe that? Ah! Yeah, okay, Master. It's fucking slaughtering the Japanese army who are trying to save the Major, so they're trying to fight Berserker, and it doesn't work because it's Berserker. So, there's this, like, whole section where he starts fighting Lancer, and then Lancer's spear, like, fucking splits his head. And Berserker just grabs his head and splishes it black to... Splish, what the fuck? He splishes it back together and just keeps fighting. And part of it is like, okay, the armor he's in is essentially like this infinite source of mana, so Berserker is just constantly getting healed. And the way the manga ends, at least currently, because it's not done, I'm just caught up, is Saber joining the fight to help Lancer fight Berserker. I'm like, fuck, this is so cool. Yeah, it's the art's great. It's violent as hell. Some of the expressions are great. And you got the Major begging Archer to save him, which A, she's not doing, because like, no, that was one of my retainers. I'm not gonna fight one of my old retainers. And also, like, why the fuck would I help you? Fuck you, buddy. Oh, it was great. yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. And then just the main character, it's an isekai, it's a time travel story, fish out of water, who is not used to all the death and the violence and is trying to get used to it while wanting to help his grandma get her wish, which is to end wars because she, I believe, was like part of World War One, and like her family was part of a thing, and then her family got murdered and wiped out, and so she's used to seeing all this death, but it's not something that she likes. Meanwhile, Saber, who is Okita Soji, still has that sickness and that deadly cough. So she is trying to do her best in the limited time that she feels like she has. And Oda Nobunaga is also there being the coolest motherfucker in the story. I'm really enjoying it. I have no idea when it updates or how often it updates. But hopefully it'll be one of those manga I keep in rotation where I'm like, all right, every few months or so, let me pick it up, see how it's going, and that's all I got for that one.